Hi everybody, I'm here today to talk about resilience and revival in the context of achieving career success while balancing mental health. I'd like to start off with talking about resilience and our ability to fight and survive. A major crisis plaguing our world today, I believe, is mental health, caused by a variety of factors like emotional imbalance, genetics, and stressful environments, abuse, and in some parts social media as well. And it largely goes untreated. Why? Because our society thinks of it as a taboo topic even today. It is okay to get treated for blood pressure, diabetes, etc., but somehow getting treatment for mental health illness makes us lesser humans. Let's come back to emotional abuse or stressful environments. Do you know that the National Family Health Survey has found that more than 30% of married women go through domestic violence abuse? And then there is that emotional abuse which chews away at a person's self-esteem. Women still put up with it. Why? I think it's because of lack of financial independence. You must be wondering, why am I standing here and talking about these two topics? Well, let me share my life's journey with you. I got my engineering degree, had an arranged marriage at 21, a conservative family. I went to the US, did my master's in computer engineering, got a good job, had 2 kids. Sounds perfect on paper, right? Let me unveil the hidden over here. My marriage was a very difficult one, to the extent that I ended up with insomnia, severe anxiety, and depression. And like everybody else, I resisted getting treated for it. That's when my father intervened, and he convinced me that this was just like any other ailment, and I needed to live my life at its fullest. I got treated, and 14 years after my marriage, I finally gathered the courage to walk out. My and my children's well-being was at stake. When taking that big step, I decided to consult a child psychologist. I wanted to weigh the emotional impact it would have on my children. And you know what the psychologist's advice was? Don't let your daughter see that it is okay for women to take crap. And don't let your son see that it is okay to disrespect women. That nailed it for me. The one thing I did right in all those years was that I stuck to my job. That was a part of my identity and my self-esteem. And the financial independence gave me the strength to fight for my sanity. I told my kids, we are fighters and survivors. We are going to live our life holding our head high. The moment you look down, the world pounces upon you. All right, let's come to something more happy, revival. Life gives you second chances. Today, my kids are doing very well. They are smart, balanced, and emotionally very, very capable of handling things. And their well-being has been my single most focus and achievement. My daughter is studying medicine at University of Southern California, and my son is majoring in math and computer science at Princeton. We are very close, and I'd like to think we are each other's best friends. So I know what you guys are thinking, that every parent likes to think that they are best friends with their children, but I have my Mother's Day cards to prove that. I got remarried 10 years back to a wonderful person. He has been a great partner and such a loving father figure for my children. Life gave me a second chance and I grabbed it. You know, life happens. The moment you leave this institution, life is going to happen for you as well. But I think it is important to know what you are after. You know, I read this quote on my son's Instagram post when he graduated high school, which said, "The best advice I can give anybody about to go into the world is this: don't do it. I have been there. It's a mess." Don't mean to discourage you, but I'm trying to state facts here. You know, every one of you has a passion, a unique talent, your ikigai. If you haven't read this book, Ikigai, The Japanese Secret to a Happy and Long Life, I recommend it. You have to find your ikigai. That is your mission in life. And choosing the right career is going to propel that path of self-discovery. Which brings me to talking about career. It's a marathon, not a sprint. You know, when I was as old as you guys, I wanted it all. A career, a house, kids, a family. And I had heard about the middle path. So I decided that's the one I'm going to be on. I found my balance. I would be very focused at my work, leave at 5 p.m., pick up my kids, spend quality time with them, cook, and then once they slept, I would log in back to work. And I used to always wonder, how am I going to compete with my male counterpart engineers who work such long hours? But guess what? It seems like focus and diligence is what matters. It's quality over quantity. I kept growing in my career slowly, but steadily. You know, I reached a point when I wanted to switch careers. So I had been working in computer networking at Cisco, and I wanted to move into big data at Splunk, which was a hot company at that time. I went from managing 25 people at Cisco to managing 4 people at Splunk. It was a big step back in my career, but I figured sometimes you have to take a step back to propel your career forward. And that's exactly what happened for me. It was an amazing ride. In 8 years, I went from being a senior manager to a director, senior director, and then VP of engineering. I get asked this question, you know, what advice do you have for women aspiring for roles in tech or leadership positions? You know what my answer is? There has never been a better time to be a woman in tech or in any professional career. Because every government, every corporation that I know of has a strong agenda to provide equal opportunities to women, not only in education, but also in the workspace. You know that saying, right, behind every successful man, there is a woman. I would like to change that to say, next to every successful man, there is a woman, or vice versa. Gender diversity brings different perspectives, which help in productivity and creativity. And you know, women have a different way of leading, a different way of managing things, different perspectives. And it is that combination of men and women in executive teams which breeds success. I'll give you an example. My husband is the idea man, the innovator, while I am the execution person, getting things done. And we make a very good team. But imagine if we were to reverse roles. I was asked to come up with the biggest idea, and he was asked to be a taskmaster. It would be a disaster. So we all have our strengths and weaknesses. My advice to you is focus on your strengths, not your weaknesses. Work smart, not hard. And you know, compensate for your weaknesses by teaming up with people who have them as their strengths. Your overall impact will be unparalleled. Now let's talk about giving back and following your passion. You know, I have come up with this saying, so it's totally original, and I'm going to say it in Hindi. 25 साल तक पढ़ाई, 50 साल तक कमाई, 75 साल तक भलाई, और उसके बाद चारपाई. And by charpai, I don't mean that get bedridden, but just take a chill pill then. I guess my bhalai journey started a few years earlier. In 2022, all stars aligned for me and my husband, and we decided to move back to India. And it seemed like the perfect time to switch paths and focus on my passion and giving back. And you know, when we came here, it felt like India was the playground for the working in the social sector. I was trying to determine what area appeals to me. You know, I had worked in an organization for domestic violence, abuse victims, but their stories were very emotionally debilitating. And I had also volunteered with an organization which was teaching front-end and back-end development, code development, to rural youth and underprivileged youth, and I loved that experience. It is so energizing working with youth like you. So I decided that was going to be my path. You know, the biggest advantage that I have had in life, and many of you have had, is that we were born in the right family. One that was supportive, financially secure. My father was the one who got me out of my mental health crisis with his advice and support. My mother was my rock to hold on to during the turbulent waters of my marriage. We all need support from our parents, our family, our community. And anyone who thinks they can do it all is just fooling their ego, I believe. So there are many youth in India who start life at a disadvantage. At our nonprofit, our mission is to provide financial security to such underprivileged youth through technology training and quality job placements. You know, we have come up with an easy to understand curriculum, which we partner with rural colleges to deliver through local teachers. And once the students have completed that training, we certify them and help them with job placements. I give people the example of UC Berkeley. You know, I've seen that closely, like, you know, you all know it's an amazing place for computer science. They have classes of like 1,000 students. And there is this hotshot professor who comes in, delivers the lecture, but the ones who make the most difference are the teaching assistants. You know, there's a teaching assistant for every 20, 30 students who helps them with their coursework, their understanding, projects, assignments, etc. We are trying to replicate that model because that's the only way to scale. So our local teachers at the colleges, rural colleges or nonprofits, will be our teaching assistants while we create that curriculum. You know, I have had an amazing experience, lots of heartfelt, heartwarming experiences over the last year. And I started teaching 30 girls at Jashpur. Do you know where that is? It's like some remote place in Chhattisgarh. And these girls came to me with zero digital literacy, barely able to read English, but a huge determination to learn. In 9 months, today, they are able to run SQL queries against Google's BigQuery database. It just warms my heart so much when I see how much they have grown, how much their confidence and self-esteem has grown. They just needed like a nurturing environment and a little bit of push to get them out of their comfort zone. And they have shown they are getting ready for placements. So I read this quote once which said, think of giving not as a duty, but as a privilege. I think we all are privileged, right? And you know, if you want to feel true happiness, think about a cause that resonates with your heart and go volunteer in it. You'll be amazed at that feeling. All right, so that brings me to the last part of my talk, which is about success. And I would like to leave you with this question to ponder over. What does success mean to you? Everybody has a different measure of success, and the essence lies in the different interpretations. For some, it may be reaching an understanding of who you are and what tasks are worthy of you. That resonates with me. I think I have found my passion. You know, for the more spiritually inclined, it may be living in a state of constant bliss while living in the world and not being affected by it. By that definition, I think I have some ways to go. Thank you.